Alright, and welcome back to another Kuma Style review. I'm your host once again, TJ Duckett, and what we're looking at today is one I'm actually really excited for. It's the Takara masterpiece, Great Exkizer. As you can see here, I've got Dragon Kaiser, I've got King Loader, I've got Kaiser. So we're going to take all of these and make them into their combined form, which is honestly probably the coolest toy I own. So we're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to go ahead and start with the transformation. Then I'm going to go into the accessories. Well, never mind that. I'm going to scratch that. I'm going to do the transformation first. Then I'll go into the posability. Then I'll go into the accessories. Then I'll go into the final thoughts. Because it makes no sense to go over the accessories right now before the transformation when you can't even use the accessories until they're combined. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, we are taking a look at the transformation now into the Great Exkizer, which isn't too hard at all. So let me go ahead, I'm going to start with King Loader and Kaiser to make them into King Kaiser. Let's go ahead and just start with getting King Kaiser inside of here. Alright, we got to open up this part. Take these flaps up, bring these down. Alright, now to get Kaiser himself into a position to be put into there. Get those feet up. And I like to start at the feet first when it wants to let me. Oh yeah, almost forgot to flip these shoulder pads out and then take the arms up. So let's go ahead and do that part so that we can more easily get Kaiser inside of there. Alright, so there's that half. Oops. And of course this is trying to be finicky with me right now, but it's part of the game. Still love the toy quite a bit. I think finicky is about the only way to describe this combination because, yeah, it's just not very well planned. But okay, now we've got him in. I don't know why his pelvis just decided to flip up. Get that clipped back. And sorry about this, just got out of the shower not too long ago, so fresh lotion on the hands make things a little bit slippery. Okay. Went ahead and go in there. Making sure that his leg's in correctly so that I can panel up. Jeebs. Alright. And just so you guys know, he doesn't have to be put in there and converted into King Kaiser, but, you know, it's more one for the completist who's like, he's not really King Kaiser if he's not combined. So, alright, there we go. It's much easier than it looks, but doing it around the camera and stuff like that, of course, makes things an SOB. Alright, so, to get King Kaiser into position, what I'm going to do is take the forearms, I'm going to turn them inwards. I always do this direction with the fist, turning the thumbs in, because if you do it the opposite way, the thumbs will try to block and you can't turn them around as well. Becomes a real pain. So okay, there we go, we've got those flipped in. Let's make sure we're zoomed in here well enough. Okay. So from there, just taking the arms, putting these down a little, and flipping the arms up like so. Okay? Got to put the shoulder pads in a little, taking the arms, flipping them up, making sure we've got some good bend there. Alright, So then I'm going to take these wings, I'm going to put them downwards. The backpack, I'm going to take this out, flip this up, whoops, and just bring it all in like so. Alright, now zoom it back out. I'm taking his feet and simply flipping them up. For whatever reason, the left foot on mine always gives me problems, but there we go. And finally, I'm going to take the head and simply pop it off. This is kind of tight, so watch out. There's that. And there we go. Exkaiser is ready for combination. Alright, now for Exkaiser. Another one that's really not too difficult. So, we're going to take the forearms, use that to slide them up. Then we're removing the guns, actually. Slide it up, removing the guns. Okay. And sorry about that. When transforming these back from the Great Kaiser, I dropped one of his dragon claws that go on his shoulders. So, alright, moving on. We will go ahead and take the chest piece off. Alright, now with the shoulders, you have to unhook them like so. And they actually are supposed to slide down, but it's a really hard slide. So what I do, I just remove them, and then I take the pieces that they stick into and slide them forward like that. Zoom in so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. This piece right here. Just take it and slide it forward. Now on the other side, you could start it with these, but let's take it and slide it forward. And from there, I just take the shoulder pieces and put them back on. That's what works for me. You might be able to do it just by sliding it. I cannot. So, yeah, there we go. Alright, so now we're here. And what we want to do is first, oops, not that head, but we want to remove this whole piece. Alright. So, in here, we have the head for Great Exkizer. And we're popping that off. And that head that we popped off for Exkaiser, we're just putting it back on the ball joint there. Oops. It is pretty tight. Alright, so there we go. Alright, so close it part way. Put this head in. And then just snaps open like that. We can actually put that part aside. Alright. So, now we have the crest for Great Exkizer that goes on the front. We're just removing that for now. Okay. Alright, so now we have this. Alright. So what I'm doing, I'm flipping the arms forward. I'm flipping this whole piece up here. Okay? I'm taking his chest and I'm flipping it down. And from there, I'm just unpegging the whole this half of his body. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is just unpeg it. Alright? The two halves just unpeg from each other. Now I'll show you what I do with each half. Alright? We have an arm here. So, I just take this arm and I fold it down. It is tight. Don't be worried about that. It holds it in place when it's transformed like you just saw. Okay? And then from there, I'm just flipping this to the back. Alright? I'm doing the same thing. Oh, I can actually let his fist down too. So there we go. Alright? There's that arm. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing for the other arm here. Taking this part, flipping it down, putting that arm out, and then I'm taking this, flipping it to the back. See? Alright, so simple enough. Alright, putting those aside. Now the feet. First off, so I don't forget, we can do this in any order, but I'm flipping those up, and these two halves, they just go apart like so. So I'll show you on one leg, and then I'm going to speed through a bit on the other. But you take this, like so. Alright. We flip it back. Let me zoom in here actually and get some light on here. Alright, so we flip the whole thing back. And then there's another hinge that flips up some. Alright. And make sure that you lean the whole thing forward like that. When you get that hinge, you just take the whole thing forward like that. Alright? And this pelvic piece here, we're going to unhinge that, flip it up. Now this whole thing is going to go back down, like so. Okay? We're going to do the same thing to the other leg. This is actually the last part before we can start combining it. Let me zoom out some here. Flip it down on the main hinge. And then the other hinge. Okay, so we got that. Flip the whole thing down. And make sure that it's pegged. Okay. And getting these in is kind of funny. You'll know when it lines up, but yeah. Oops. Doesn't help that I have that flip down, but yeah, there we go. And bring that panel up. Alright, there we go. There's another leg that's ready for the insertion. So, now that we've got the legs ready, we can actually zoom out here, and we'll take King Exkizer, who we previously transformed, and he's going to slide in. Just so you know which leg is which, this there's supposed to be this white part goes more towards the center than the outside. So this is going to be his left leg. Let me flip that up again, and it does just slide in, and this whole thing closes. Okay, there we go. See, nice and sturdy. Alright, you do have to kind of split the legs here to get them in, but it works. Okay, so same with that one. Fold it in and see how easily that went in? Boom. There we go. See, they're not going anywhere. This is one very, very sturdy figure. So let's go ahead and we'll get the arms on next. Take some of that light away. Shit. Alright, so to get the arms on, you're going to see that the top of them here, there are two holes. One right here, one right here. On the bottom of these arms, get some light on there, there are pegs, man oh man, right here. Right, see that? And they just peg in. You can tell which arm is which because of the thumbs. Alright, so get that pegged in. Okay, and once you've got that pegged in, you can take this back part of his arm here, flip it down. Oops, and of course that shoulder. I'm just not good with these shoulders, so don't mind me, and I hope you really do show me up with that when you guys are transforming this at home. Alright, so there's that. Alright, and we have one arm put on. Yay. Oh, one thing that I forgot to do on the arms. Let me take this off. This is really quick. Nothing huge. But there are panels in here that flip out. So take one, flip it out, and there's a bigger panel in here. There's no way for me to get light on this, but see, now he has some more room. Or some more coverage, actually, not more room. Alright, once again, let me get that pegged in squarely. Here's that. Okay. Alright, so see, there's one arm. Boom. We're going to do the exact same thing with the other arm, remembering to get this one side pegged out. And sorry for the lack of light here, it just makes the Exkaiser shine so bright since he's white. But okay, we've got that one ready. Zooming out as far as possible. It's easiest for me to do it from the side. And here we go. Pegging that one in on the top here. It's just hard to see. Alright, clipping that one in. Shield down. Alright. So we do have these spaces here. And what we do for those is we just take it as blasters and peg those in on the pegs right here. Alright, so that's one side. There's the other side. And they peg in nice and tight. It's great. Okay. So, the next part I'm going to do, remember how we took the tip of the jet off for Exkaiser? Alright, now, on here, we have a point right here, a hollow point that this right here clips into. Okay? And then, there's a clip down there that comes out. So what we're going to do is clip it up here, and we're going to clip it down here. So I clip it up there first. Alright. And then you can just bring this panel down to clip in or peg into the other part. That part's adjustable. But now, even though it does have some side-to-side room, there we go. Now it's all in one piece. Boom. Okay. Alright. So you can see we're almost there, which is fantastic. Alright, now we have to peg this onto here. So we got to make sure that the lion's face is all the way out, which is kind of an SOB on its own. But what I do is, I'm going to zoom in here, I just flip the damn thing up like you're transforming it into, or when you're combining Kaiser with King Loader. And when you do that, there's actually a bit of an indent right there, and there's a clip here that goes on there. Okay? So let's go ahead and, while I'm able to push that out, because it's really easy to push the face back in, the lion face, while you're doing this. So I get the top clipped on first, and I actually credit the TFW user MX-01 Archon, I believe his name is. Alright, for giving me this piece of advice. But okay, now we've got that pegged in, and shoot, I just brought it back out. So I'm going to try that one more time now that the bottom's pegged in. It's a little bit harder to do on video, but it's a task that I've taken on when I decided to record myself doing this. So I can't really complain. Alright, but once that top part squared in, there's a peg that goes into the chest, or the crotch as well. And boom, there we go. Make sure that its mouth's all the way open. Alright, so zooming out now. There we have it. And all we need is the head, which we took off earlier. And boom. There we have the great Exkizer. So next we'll go ahead and check out the figure himself and his posability. Alright, and we have now transformed him into the Great Exkizer. As you can see, this piece is definitely not small. Let me get my ruler here. Not my ruler, my tape measure. Rulers are for kids. Or adults who need rulers. But anyway, he stands at just about 10.5 inches. His legs are pretty split there, so he's probably going to be closer to, you know, a good 10 3/4, 11 inches. Alright? So looking at that, we'll also look at his mask here. Very show accurate, but I'm just not the biggest fan of the aesthetic of it. You know, it's not for me. But taking a look at that, actually getting some focus in there. Just not my favorite with the stork nose and the little chin and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is actually pop his head off here. And his mask, just like Exkaiser, comes right off. Or not right off, because of course I'm doing the review. Nothing ever goes quite right. So anyway, there we go. And we have a more humanoid face form right there, which I completely love. I will not display this with the mask because this face came out that well. It just looks damn good. So, alright. Taking a look at the figure all around. Making sure that his blades are out on the side here. Maybe there's not enough room. Peg that back on. Alright. Alright, so once again, taking a look here. Just want to be able to rotate this from all sides. This is a hefty toy, but really strong joints, which I love. Okay. So getting that around to the back. And I love that this does do a really good job of not showing his kibble. With two big combining robots, having this little kibble is just fantastic. And very show accurate. I mean, they did a wonderful job, Takara did with this thing. Alright, get his fist back out there. But alright, I got that one backwards for some reason. Alright, let's take a look at his posability. Now, head to toe. His head is on a ball joint, as you guys just saw when I pulled it out. So, he does have good movement in the head. His shoulders, even though they're big, and you gotta kind of click them into place, they do have in and out movement. There's a little bit more wiggle room under the shoulder pad. Of course, swivel at the bicep. And good articulation here at the elbows. And also, these are on ball joints. Alright? And the default fists are articulated. They have opposable fingers and things like that. But, alright. No swivel at the waist, unfortunately. That does come from the great Exkizer, or I mean Exkaiser, with, you know, the combination between Kaiser and King Loader, to where you have to pretty much open this waist piece up and put them inside of there, so there's no wiggle room or anything like that. Alright? So, looking down at his legs here, one thing that I do wish he had was thigh swivel, but unfortunately he does not. That is also due to limitations with Exkaiser. And I like how it's all Exkaiser's fault, because Dragon Kaiser is like the best shit ever. But his legs do have some inward and up and down swing. And this does move, this crotch piece here, to give him room for that movement. And of course I just popped that out because I didn't do it well. But you can. So alright, I'll just leave that down. But he does have, of course, the same knee bend as Exkaiser does. Let me get this peg back in. Alright, now for the accessories that he comes with, he doesn't come with too much. He comes with 2 alternate hands, and I'll get into why in a second. But he also comes with the sword for Great Exkizer. Now all of these items, or all 3 of these, do come with Dragon Kaiser. So it's not split in between the 2 like some combiners go. Now, we can take a look at the sword itself. He is able to hold weapons like the sword for King Kaiser, or even the bow and arrow for, well, the bow actually for Dragon Kaiser, as you can see there. But the bow is kind of pointless because he doesn't have an alternate hand like Dragon Kaiser does to help him hold the arrow. So that's kind of crappy. But at the same time, he can literally hold at least the bow part. Alright, so getting that out. Now we'll take a look at the big sword. And this thing is awesome. Just so you can get an idea of the measurement for this sword, front to back, 16 freaking inches. Alright, this is what the alternate hands are for. I actually prefer putting the hands on first. There's a little bit of a curve here for the wrist. And what you do is, there's a peg up top. I always peg the front hand in first, then the back hand, because after that it's as simple as just put them in the ball joints. So, okay, here's that. Here's that. Now, let's go ahead. And what I do, the pegs to bring the fist down in the first place, I hold those down to help with that. Okay. Because when you push it in, it does want to go back and forth with that. So let me... Yeah, this thing's an SOB. But, alright, we got it in now. Nope, yes we don't. There we go. Alright, so I've at least got one hand in, and the other hand should be as simple as just gripping it, since this one's already pegged. Alright. Sword is just so damn huge. Alright. And there we go. Get that back in. You can see how far this thing sticks out. I mean, it's one of those ones to where it is kind of obtrusive in a display area. But at the same time, it's so awesome that you might just want to put it on a shelf of its own. Not gonna lie. I think that's what I'm gonna end up doing with mine. So, no toys within 2 feet. At least 2 feet. And of course, right now, I'm having problems with the shoulder. The awesome, awesome shoulder. Alright. So, to get them in more of a battle pose, I'll take one leg, put it forward some. And there we go. Just so you guys can see how that sword works. I like it quite a bit. It may not be for everyone because it is very huge. But at the same time, it's just so awesome that it's not even funny. Alright. And there we have the accessories. I'll get into my final thoughts. Alright, so final thoughts on this combined piece. This is the full Monty. Even though these are good to even great in Dragon Kaiser's case, characters in their own right, the combined mode, this great Exkizer, is what it's all about. This is where the high price becomes justified for these two figures, by all means. Especially that $500 that I see Dragon Kaiser going for. Once you put it into combined mode, you don't want to take it out, or at least I don't. This thing is incredible. I'm glad that I actually took the time to do a separate review for it. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you see this at a price that you feel is justifiable, by all means buy it. This is in the battle for my favorite toy, period. And it's up against some things like, you know, Hot Toys that I have coming in that play imaginative Batman. This thing pretty much shits all over the Transformer toys that I have. So I'm not really keeping those in mind. But yeah, this is not only something that I'd recommend to fans of the Brave series or Brave Fighter Exkizer in particular, but just fans of really cool toys in general, whether they be robot toys, whether they just be well-articulated toys, whether they be, you know, just bigger toys in general, like 1/6 collectors and things like that. This isn't 1/6 of what this thing's supposed to be, but it at least fits into scale with those 12-inch figures of yours. But anyway, this is TJ Duckett. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to review more of this Brave stuff that I have here on my shelves. Next is going to be some Super Robot Shogoken from Bandai Tamashii. So excited to review those, and yeah, thank you again. Have a great one.